Hi there and welcome to Hyundai Power Equipment. My name's Adrian and today we're going to look at the HYC60Li battery powered chainsaw. So I've laid all the contents of the packaging out on the table for you to see what you get. First of all, we have the head unit itself. Then we have the battery charger, the battery itself, a comprehensive user manual. Now I do recommend that you read this thoroughly before use. And then we have the chain bar and the chain guard all in one package. We shall show you how all this goes together a little later. And that's the contents of the packaging. So the first thing I'd recommend you do is to charge your battery. Now, using the battery charger provided, you'll notice that it's got a 13 amp plug, and this will simply plug into a 13 amp wall outlet. Before plugging it in, firstly we'll fit the battery to the charger, and it simply slides in from the end and pushes fully home. Then you can plug the battery charger into your wall socket. With a flat battery, you will see a green flashing light on the top of the charger. When it stops flashing it and becomes a permanent green solid light, the battery is charged. And from flat, this will be approximately an hour and a half. Once it's charged, disconnect from the wall and slide the battery out from the charger and it's ready for use. So the first thing we're going to do with the assembly, we're not going to fit the battery at this stage so that we know that it won't start. We're going to fit the chain and the bar. So the first thing is to unscrew anti-clockwise the guard cover, a few turns anti-clockwise, a little bit more, and pull the side cover out of the way, and we'll leave that to one side for the moment. So having removed the bar and the chain from the packaging, I've just ensured that the chain is in the correct orientation on the bar. Now, as you can see, I've got the bar with the writing the right way up here, and there's a symbol here showing the shape of the tooth and a direction of travel arrow. I've matched up the chain to get the direction of tooth correct. As you can see, there's a long sloping side and a curved side, and this tooth and all the other teeth on this side of the chain are exactly the same. So I know my chain orientation on the bar is correct. Now, when handling the chain, I do recommend that you wear gloves. For the purposes of showing you this, I'll just, because the gloves will get in the way of me filming, I'll just show you. We'll take the writing on the bar, we'll flick the bar over this way so the writing is still the right way up. I'll feed this long slot over this stud, and this black pin here, the adjustment pin, has to fit through this hole. So if I loop the chain over the drive wheel and into position, as you can see in this instance, the pin has come through the hole, even though the chain is very slack. So what I can do is just unscrew the adjuster just a little, just to make sure it's held in place loosely. So having fitted the bar loosely over the bolt, dropped it down over the pin and adjusted it loosely onto the drive wheel, I can now refit the cover. To refit the cover, you'll see that there is a little plastic tab on the back end of the cover which fits in the slot on the back end. Push it down into position, just line up the little stud and give it a little push and it'll sit there loosely. And now we can just tighten up on the outer cover. I'll just tighten that up firmly for the moment. Now we need to move on to the adjustment of the chain tension. To refit the cover, you'll see that there is a little plastic tab on the back end of the cover which fits in the slot on the back end. Push it down into position, just line up the little stud and give it a little push and it'll sit there loosely. And now we can just tighten up on the outer cover. I'll just tighten that up firmly for the moment. Now we need to move on to the adjustment of the chain tension. The chain tension is adjusted by loosening off the cover clamp and adjusting on the little hand wheel here at the back. And the tension we're looking for, as you can see, that chain is coming right out of the groove in the bar and it's not springing back in any way. So if I just loosen the cover, maybe 1 revolution, and then rotating the wheel in the direction of the plus, maybe I'll go 1/4 turn, tighten back up, and we'll have another look. Now that's far better, but it's still pretty loose. I can pull the teeth completely out of the guides. 1 revolution loosened again, maybe 1 little spin of the wheel, tighten back up. Now that's very close now. It comes out and is starting to spring back in. Maybe a tiny bit more. Loosen the clamp, a little bit more, tighten the clamp, and that's about perfect. I can lift it and move the chain, but it only just comes out of the guide. Now what I would do is run the chain for a minute or so without doing any cutting, and then test the tension again. You may need to tighten it back up. Once it's revolved for 30 odd seconds to a minute, it'll settle down into all the grooves and it could become a little bit looser. So then I would check the tension again. On the same note, when you first start to use the chain, it will do an initial stretch. So during its first uses, keep an eye on your chain tension and then tension it up to allow for its initial stretch. And that's how to fit and adjust the chain and bar. Couple of little safety notes. Whenever adjusting the chain or handling the chain in any way, I would strongly suggest that you remove the battery so that you don't inadvertently start the chainsaw up and, obviously all sorts of problems. Always better that you wear gloves when you're handling the chain, changing the chain, that sort of thing. And whenever you're not using it, just put the little chain cover over the chain to protect the chain and protect yourself, because it is very sharp. So before use, we're going to need to fill up the chain oil reservoir for the lubrication of the chain with chain lubricating oil. It is filled through this plug here, so I'll just tip it on its side, and this plug unscrews anti-clockwise, and you can pour chain oil in through this filler to fill the chain oil reservoir. Once you've filled it up, simply replace the cap, and you'll see that there is a sight glass on the side of the chain oil tank, minimum at the bottom, maximum at the top, and the oil will show through this little window. So that's filling the chain lubricating oil tank. But it's very important when you're using the chainsaw to make sure that you've always got chain oil in the tank. So we've fitted and tensioned the bar. Now let's look at fitting the battery and the controls. First of all, the chain brake is on the front here. When it's forward, in its lock position, the safety lock, the chain and the motor will not start. Back, and it will start. So for safety, we'll push that forward. So to start it, that will need to be back in this position. Then there is a button on the side here, needs to be pushed, and then you simply pull the trigger and it will start. Should at any time you get a kickback and it kicks on you, your hand will automatically hit this front guard, which will stop the chainsaw. To fit the battery, again you'll see the 3 pins. They go in first. There's a curved side and a flat side to the rear. Push the battery down in and click it home. To remove the battery, there's a small paddle here on the front. Simply push that paddle back and remove the battery for charging. So, what I'll do is remove the guard and just do a quick demonstration. I push this forward, I'll push the button, pull the trigger, and it will not start. I'll pull that handle back, again push the button, pull the trigger, and the chainsaw will start. I've had it running a little bit and I've already retensioned the blade. So, and then nothing happens. So that is the safety interlock, and when it kicks back, your hand will automatically push the handguard forward and stop the chainsaw. So that's the operation. Let's talk about a few of the features on your chainsaw. As you saw earlier, it has a top mount insertion battery for easy usage. It's got a U-shaped front handle which provides horizontal and vertical cutting position. It's got a mechanical chain brake here on the front, which allows for increased safety and will actually stop the chain rotating within 0.15 of a second. It has a high chain speed, maximum of 15 meters per second, which provides a powerful cutting performance. And as you saw earlier, it's got a tool-free chain tensioner. It has automatic chain lubrication, and this actually has a 700 watt brushless motor, which will increase the lifespan of the product. Well, I do hope you found this demonstration useful. For more information on this or any of our other products, simply visit www.hyundaipowerequipment.co.uk. I've been Adrian, and happy cutting!